Now I am discussing about the non-mechanical properties. Surface characteristics. What are the surface characteristics? Corrosion and degradation. Corrosion means the loss of material or the loss of surface of the material or any deterioration in the material due to the weathering action is a loss of material by dissolution or by the formation of non-metallic layers due to weathering condition. Abrasion and wear resistance. Abrasion is a test conducted in a transportation lab by you people, but which is used to determine this capacity or the soundness for this aggregates. Damage by load is more important in pavement. So how much pavement resists the wear from vehicle tires? So pavement will resist the wear from the vehicle tires. Coming to surface texture, smooth texture of aggregate to improve workability during mixing. Like rough texture of aggregate to the pavement surface to provide friction resistance. So generally the smooth texture of aggregates are recommended to use for concrete mixing, so it is very easy to work. But when the rough texture of aggregates are recommended to use it for pavements, so that it can provide some friction resistance with the vehicle tire and the road. Production, the availability of the material, the ability to fabricate the material. Fabricating means arranging the things in a proper order. Factors relate to the ability to fabricate the structure on site. Aesthetic characteristics, the appearance of the material. So the aesthetic characteristics means the external appearance of the materials. Sustainable design. So sustainable design means if is the philosophy of designing physical objects, the built environment and services to comply with the principles of economic, social and environmental sustainability. What is LEED rating system? LEED means Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design rating system is used to evaluate the sustainability of project. This rating area includes all this include like sustainable sites, water efficiency, all these are included in considering this LEED rating system. Generally, the materials and resources considering during LEED rating, Leadership in Energy and Environmental Design. Like storage and collection of recyclables. So how the materials are stored and collection of recyclables. There are so many recyclable materials in civil engineering, like using fly ash in bricks and soil improvement techniques. We have so many things like that. Like building reuse, maintaining existing walls, construction waste management. This is more important, like manage construction waste management, materials reuse and recycled content. All this comes under when this is giving LEED rating. Now coming to concrete. The concrete is a very important thing. As you know, this cement aggregate means fine aggregate and coarse aggregate and water all together, it's a concrete. Now coming to aggregate. Aggregate means a mass of crushed stone or gravel, sand, but in some cases including clays and silt, mostly composed of individual particles with size of 150 mm like microns. So where we can use this aggregate? We can use this aggregate for foundations and pavements, and we use these aggregates as ingredients for Portland cement and asphalt concretes. According to the grain size, if it is less than 4.7, greater than 4.7, it is coarse aggregate. If it is less than 4.7, it is fine aggregate. According to source, the natural sources are gravel, river deposit, crushed stones from rocks, manufactured aggregates. Sometimes aggregates are manufactured from iron and steel mills. The waste produced is called slag. So slag waste can be converted as aggregates. Here we are having aggregate properties: physical, chemical and mechanical. So physical properties means what is the particle shape and size and texture, what is the pore structure, like how the aggregate is having how many pores, like how many voids are there. Porosity means the allowability of water through the material, specific gravity of the aggregate and absorption, and soundness, durability. All these are the physical properties of the aggregate. So we should know all the physical properties of the aggregate before using it as a construction material. Chemical solubility, surface charge, volume, stability, all these are the chemical properties. Coming to mechanical properties, it is compressive strength. You have to determine the compressive strength of the aggregate, the toughness of the aggregates, abrasion resistance, which you are going to do all these experiments in transportation engineering lab. Mass stability. Now soundness or durability. The soundness is the ability of aggregate to resist weathering, like the breakdown of material by action of weather, rain, wind, change in temperature. So these are the test how we can do with ASTM, American Standards for Testing and Materials. So you can follow this and you can find out the soundness and durability of the aggregate. And we have abrasion test, toughness and abrasion resistance test. So this is a test which is conducted in a transportation engineering laboratory to determine the toughness of aggregates used. By providing a dynamic load, it rotates this equipment which is having iron balls which gives the impact load on the aggregates, so that according to the wear and tear of the aggregate, before what is the shape of the aggregate and what is the weight of the aggregate, after the experiment is there any deterioration from the material, so that you can determine the toughness of the abrasion test. The ability of aggregates to resist the damaging by the dynamic load. It is related to the hardness of the aggregate particles. This test is known as Los Angeles Abrasion Test, American Standards for Testing and Materials. You have absorption test. Absorption test means how much the aggregate can be able to absorb the water, the amount of water that aggregates absorb. It can be defined by the percentage between the weight of absorbed water to the dry weight of aggregate. Moisture content is moisture present in water, like minus weight of moisture minus weight of dry weight over dry weight multiplied by 100. The materials which we are using in the concrete or the aggregate should be very clean. It should be away from this organic and inorganic matter. Cleanness and deleterious material. Sometimes clay and silt is also present in sand. So we have to determine the silt test. We have to conduct this silt test to determine the content percentage of silt and clay in sand. So we have some standards according to BS 882 1965. So if it is a crushed sand, it should not be more than 15% of the total weight of a crushed sand. Like that, for sand it is 3%, and for aggregate it should not be more than 1%. Bulking of sand. I think you already gone through this experiment in the lab in this week or before, or you may do it in the future. But whereas bulking of sand means if you add some water to the sand has a property to increase in its volume. Up to some percentage the sand is increasing, but when the water moisture becomes more, then the sand starts decreasing. So the property of increase and at a time it's decreasing can be defined as bulking of sand. See, if your sand given is, if the percentage increase in volume is less than 20%, it can be defined as coarse sand. If the percentage increase is less than the 30%, it can be defined as medium sand. If the percentage is more than, what I can say is, if it is around 40%, it can be defined as fine sand. So finally you can find the bulking factor as maximum increased volume over original volume whole minus 1. It gives you a 0.5 or 0.1. It determines that a 0.5, 0.4, something like that. It determines that the sand is having a bulking factor of 40%. So at the time of preparing it for concrete, you have to keep it in mind and you have to concentrate on this bulking factor. I hope this video will help you when you are preparing, or the students who want to recollect the class, students who missed the class can see this video and you can understand the things happened in this previous class. So now I completed this unit 2 part 1. So try to go through this video at the time of preparation for your examination also. This will be very helpful. All the best to you. Thank you.